So I wanted to talk a little bit about Pride because I actually went yesterday, which is kind of weird. So last year I did a video on Pride and what I thought of Pride and why we still need it and kind of all sorts of things really, which I'll put in the description down below. And I kind of maybe made some assumptions on what Pride was about, and certainly within the big one that's in London, it seemed to be a specific kind of thing that I just maybe stereotyped perhaps what I thought it was going to be like. And so I went, because I was kind of invited to go, and I was like, well, shall I? And I mean, I'm in London, so it kind of made sense for me to go. It's free, so hey, why the hell not? Went to go and see the parade, well, at least the start of the parade around Oxford Circus, which was a big mistake because it was busy as hell. We saw we saw a few things. We basically saw pretty much the military and a few floats, and that was about it. The actual, like, ignoring the rest of Pride, it's like Pride as an event was really great. Like, I was really surprised that it was that good. I was expecting it to be kind of gayer than it was, I suppose, if that makes any sense. So it was very gay, it was very fabulous, it was very over the top, it was very carnival-y, you know, what you kind of would expect from Pride. But it was more of a family kind of straight day out. I mean, obviously there was loads of gay people around, there was loads of gay women, loads of gay men, loads of bisexual men, and all, you know, anybody that is different, I suppose. But there were loads of like straight people, straight couples, and kids, and all sorts of stuff, which was really cool. And they weren't just there because they were there because they were there for Pride, which was really cool. So it kind of made me sort of rethink about what Pride was about, and certainly, you know, my perceptions of what Pride is, which I thought was just basically people getting drunk and sleeping with each other, and that was it. I didn't do any of that because number one, I didn't go into any gay bars, and number two, I had a friend with me, and number three, I didn't really want to do any of that shit anyway. So yeah, I kind of went along. So we went to Oxford Street, Oxford Circus, down along Regent Street, walked to Leicester Square. Not Leicester Square. Well, yeah, Leicester Square, past Piccadilly Circus, and kind of followed the bit of the parade down there, which was a bit of a mission because it was fucking rammed. Saw, you know, a few great things. Like the best part of it was seeing groups of people that were getting amazing amounts of support. So, for instance, the military were there, which I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter you're taking the military, but for them certainly, and specific other groups within specific industries, you know, being gay or being different, or, you know, being a lesbian, being transgender, being whatever within the military is something that is a huge thing even today. I mean, yeah, Christ, we've got equal rights, but you know, it is different and it's difficult. So they got a huge round of applause pretty much the entire way down, which is really cool. There's other, you know, a few groups that got a lot of support, a lot of the unions, which I wasn't too keen on. It was kind of interesting because, you know, from my standpoint, I didn't think this was a political thing. I didn't think of it as a political thing first off. But as some of the kind of the parades, or, you know, some of the things came through, I realised actually it was a political thing. There was lots to do with different political parties, which is kind of annoying. I didn't really like to see that there. You know, there was unions there as well, and I was like, well, you know, is this really the kind of thing that really Pride should be about? I don't know. It's interesting that they were there, and it was interesting that they had their own political views, and it was interesting that the whole thing was a little bit different to what I was expecting. However, I mean, I don't know, should it change? I don't think so. I think it's perfectly fine as it is, and certainly it's not something for me to come along as a newbie and just say, oh, this is fucking shit, or this needs to change, or that needs to change. But certainly, I think Pride as a whole was stereotypically gay and camp, and it was full of gay men and gay culture, and certainly for me, I don't like that kind of shit. It's not something I think is relevant necessarily. I don't think it's something that helps. Certainly people like me and other people coming out being overly gay, if that makes sense. I mean, if I was to say to you what gay, you know, if you were to say somebody, you know, overly gay, you pretty much know what I mean, but I don't want to say that term because it sounds really bad. But, you know, it was very over the top, was very camp, it was very fabulous, and that's all good. And, you know, it's great that you can be who you want to be, but at the same time, I kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just me when I was growing up and the kind of the difficulties I had when I was coming to terms with my sexuality, perhaps. Because I didn't fit into the stereotype of being gay and being camp and being, you know, all that kind of thing you get from, you know, even today, the stereotypes you have with being gay. So, yeah, but it was really cool. I certainly will go back again to next year, but I think I'll make a bit more of a thing of it, because this year I kind of just attended and I didn't really do very much. I didn't do any face painting, I didn't do very much shouting, I kind of just attended, recorded a few bits which you can see kind of as we go through this video. And that was kind of it, really. I didn't take a pride flag with me, I sort of just wandered about. Once we watched a bit of the parade, because we tried to get on Trafalgar Square, which was a big mistake because there was a huge queue and we decided to give up on that idea. So then we went past the Canadian Embassy and then tried to watch the parade from there, which we could watch, but it was towards the arse end, so it was like the last hour, and there wasn't really, I mean, it was still cool, but it wasn't that, all the big things had gone past, so all the main floats had gone past, the army had gone past, all that other kind of stuff, scouts and all the other kinds of people that I wanted to see. So I think next year I'm going to go and I'm going to watch the parade for the entire thing and establish myself, get there early, establish myself, and with or without somebody else, I don't really know or care. I just kind of want to experience it a bit better. I might even go to Brighton Pride maybe, or another Pride event, because why the hell not? Because you know, there's loads about the country. I might even go to Cornwall Pride. It depends. Depends on when or if I'm in Cornwall at all, any point. But yeah, I might try and go on something like that because it'd be quite cool, and it would be a good way of me maybe creating a video around it, perhaps maybe doing something for it, as opposed to just kind of being a spectator. So yeah, it was quite cool. There was loads of people that went, which I ended up not meeting up with, which is kind of annoying. I met some Twitter people, and I met my brother-in-law, and we went to St James Park actually after the whole thing had happened, and we had something to drink and yeah, something to eat, and that was about it really. So but no, it was a good day, and I certainly will be doing it again next year, possibly even as a participant. I might go with Scouts, I'm not too sure, though my Scout warrant is now run out because I haven't been in Scouts for a while, and yeah, I need to get back on that shit actually. So I need to maybe contact the London Commissioner possibly and see if there's any work or roles available within London for me to kind of pick up as and when, because I haven't really got the time to do it full time. But yeah, so that's kind of that. So I think that's pretty much it. I think the only thing to end on in terms of Pride is it did seem very commercial. That was the only thing I didn't like about Pride this year, but Pride in London seems to be very commercial. There's lots of marketing, there's lots of like companies that pretend that they're supporting it. You don't know if they actually genuinely are supporting it because they're nice people, and the people behind it, and the CEO behind it, and everything else, and the people that work there are all, you know, part of this thing, or if they're just doing it just because they want to sell more shit. Probably the latter, and to a certain extent the former as well, but certainly, you know, there was loads of big companies there. HSBC was there, Lloyds, you know, pretty much all the banks were there. Tesco's was doing a bit of a thing, Waitrose was doing a bit of a thing. So all the main big companies in the UK were there, and which is good to see, but it's kind of like, well, are they doing it because, you know, they sort of think they have to, or are they doing it because they genuinely do support the rights of others? You know, I'd much rather people, there shouldn't be a forced sense of compliance. There should be a mutual agreement that, you know, bettering humanity is a good thing. So yeah, I suppose that's pretty much it. There's anything I wanted to say really. So I don't have a brew, obviously, as you can see, because I'm actually selling my kitchen area of my corridor of a flat, because my bed is a mess and I can't be bothered to sort it out, and yeah, and it's also insanely hot in here, which is why I'm wearing a vest, which I didn't really want to do because I kind of look ugly in a vest, and yeah. So I haven't actually done, I was going to do an EGX, an E3 video, but I haven't had the time, and I'm probably not going to bother now because it's a little bit late in the day to do a bit of roundup of that, so I'm not going to bother with that. There's a few things I do need to do, and I do need to do a proper brew time at some point, but I've got so much shit to do at the moment, it's absolutely insane, so it might be a couple of weeks time maybe, but I'll let you know. Obviously hit me up on Twitter at AzzyChill, follow me on Facebook as well, /AzzyChill, so facebook.com/AzzyChill, I'm on pretty much everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare, I think, maybe, if you're really into that shit. Just anyone else, not Pinterest, because Pinterest is awful and it should die a death. I am on Flickr, but I don't really use that very much. What else am I on? Google Plus, the same thing again, if you even use Google Plus, or if anybody uses Google Plus. But yeah, set me up on all those places, because that's where you can find out the latest and greatest stuff that's happening. Probably Twitter is the best, and Instagram is also probably second best, I guess, and then Facebook after that. So, apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.